There are two types of business owners, those who are busy and those who want to be busy. Toast is designed for both, with tools to keep you humming and help turn grind into growth. That's how you turn busy into business. Toast, built for busy.
Times in Anaheim. The Dodgers scored 4 runs in the 7th to beat Colorado 5-3. Wins for Miami, Seattle, and the Yankees with 2 in the 9th, won 4-3 at Kansas City.
Live from the heart of SEC country, this is your daily fix of grit, guts, and gridiron glory. Welcome to the Deep South College Football Show.
Bowen, here he goes! Georgia retakes the lead!
Breaking down the biggest matchups, the boldest takes, and the deepest rivalries in college football on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Intercepted! They confused him! Xavier Brown headed the other way! Touchdown Tide!
From Fayetteville to Gainesville, from the Grove to Toomer's Corner, it's SEC football.
Chambers delivers! Touchdown!
Now, here's your award-winning host, Wyatt Fulton.
Welcome into the Tuesday edition of the Deep South College Football Show right here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide sports here. SEC spring meetings are underway down there in Sandestin, Florida. And Greg Sankey has immediately come out and is already trying to fight his conference athletic directors when you look at proposals for 24 versus 16 team college football playoff. No show yesterday because of Memorial Day. We hope everybody was safe on Memorial Day, but enjoyed your 3-day weekend there. We got Jackson hanging out with us here in the studio. Jackson, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I wish the rain would have waited until today to come in for the weekend, but
I know
it was all right. Made do.
May do. Had to do what you can. Norris hanging out with us here as well, talking SEC spring meetings. Norris, how you doing, man?
I'm good. God woke me up today, so gotta be happy about that.
Absolutely. We mentioned it already. SEC spring meetings have started down in Sandestin, Florida, Miramar Beach down there in beautiful Florida, although it is also raining down there. College football playoff expansion. That's been the big topic of conversation down there in Florida. We may try to bring somebody on from Florida a little bit later in the week to kind of give us what their takeaways are from spring meetings. But Jackson, we'll start with what happened last night. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey came out and basically said, hey, we want a 16-team playoff. I want a 16-team playoff here. And according to On3's Brett McMurphy, the SEC athletic directors don't want that. They want more than 16 teams, or at least the vast majority of them would like more than 16 teams in the college football playoff.
Yeah, 16, I mean, I'm fine with what we have now at 12, but 16 seems to be that middle ground sweet spot. I feel like that's what the Big Ten also wants. I don't feel like they really want a 24 team. I think they're just pushing that out to have an end post and then make, because they know the SEC, at least from my standpoint, I don't think the SEC will ever agree to a 24-team playoff, nor do I think they ever should. So that 16-team format seems to be that middle ground where they can both come to the table and say, okay.
But you remember last year, the Big Ten. Last year, the big conversation was, hey, the Big Ten's playing 9 conference games, the SEC's playing 8. You know, who's got more of a competitive advantage when you're doing that? And if you'll recall, and Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri also kind of helped us remember this here last year. Eli Drinkwitz said, I remember last year when we were told that if we went to 9 conference games, the Big Ten would go to a 16-team playoff. And now suddenly the Big Ten is saying, no. We want 14. We want 24. We want 24 teams in this college football playoff. And so did the SEC kind of get played? Did the SEC kind of get taken advantage of here?
Absolutely. Don't agree to anything until it's put in writing.
Yeah. I mean,
they got raked over the coals with this one. It made no sense for the SEC to go to 9 conference games when your league is at 16 teams. You play half the conference, and if you're playing 8 conference games, I will stand on that soapbox forever. Yeah. The Big Ten has 18 teams, so playing 9 conference games makes sense. You're playing half the conference.
It does. It makes the most sense there when you've got, 18 teams in your conference. You're playing half your conference every single year, roughly half the conference, right? Sometimes you've got these permanent opponents that we're keeping track of here, but it really and truly feels like the SEC is getting played right now. That's my big takeaway so far through half of day one in Sandestin, Florida there. To me, it feels like the SEC is getting played right now. Hey, you know what? We'll go to 16. We'll go to a 16-team playoff format if you'll just come in and play our 9 conference games. Just play 9 conference games, and we'll give you your 16-team format. The SEC approves 9 conference games. We did a whole big schedule release of, hey, here's who you're going to play for the next 4 years. Don't know the dates yet, but we know exactly who you're going to play in 2029, from now until 2029. And then it comes out, oh, no, wait, by the way, now we want to go to 24 teams in this college football playoff thing. Now we promised you we were going to give you 16, but yeah, no. Now we want to go to 24. And it seems like most of these coaches, or maybe not even coaches, but most of these athletic directors are on board with the 16 or with the 24 team idea. They don't really want the 16. They want to go ahead and just say, you know what, let's double this and let's go all the way to 24.
Right. And Christian mentioned this on the last 5 minutes of his show, that what Mike Elko said, which is that a lot of these athletic directors and coaches are covering their own butts for this, for college football playoff expansion to go to 24 teams. And I do believe that to be the case because, if you're at 24 teams, that means likely 3 to 4 more SEC teams, maybe even 5, get into the playoff field. And that would include, maybe every once in a while a Kentucky gets in there or Mississippi State. But you get a Vanderbilt, these lower conference teams, it props them up to be able to be like, hey, we made the playoffs.
We made the playoff, yeah. But, hey, we made the playoff.
Right.
You can't fire me. I made the college football playoff. And I love Mike Elko. I love Mike Elko because he said it, man. He's like, what does Mike Elko want? I want to go to 40 because then I know for a fact I'm going to make the playoff. I'm not going to get fired. But again, Mike Elko says it best. It's okay to make it difficult to make the postseason. It's okay to make it difficult to make the playoffs, right? You're supposed to be crowning a national champion. This is supposed to be the cream of the crop, the elite of the elite. And we're going to let Iowa, we're going to let Vanderbilt in this thing. We're every 3 years, we're going to let Kentucky in here, right? That's not it. We're going to let Arizona hang out in the college football playoff. Really? That's a program that you think deserves to make the college football playoff? Somebody who hasn't had Vanderbilt, who had their first 10-win season in God knows how long last season. They finished number 14. If we had expanded this thing anything past 12, Vanderbilt would have been a playoff contender last year. The same Vanderbilt that went out and lost to Iowa in the ReliaQuest Bowl. By the way, Iowa would have been in the playoff field as well if we had expanded this thing to 24 teams. Those 2 teams would have made the college football playoff. Do we think they're deserving?
A 3-loss Texas would have.
3-loss Texas would have made it. Georgia Tech would have made it.
3-loss Alabama team that made the field. But yet,
there was a real conversation
to have more 3-loss teams in the field.
There was a real conversation about Duke getting into the college football playoff last season. Do you remember what regular season record Duke finished with?
7-5.
7-5. But because they went out and they won the ACC championship, we said, hey, maybe we should let Duke into this thing. We want 5-loss Duke in the college football playoff. Now, we all know that Duke did not make it, but that was for about 16 hours. That was a very real conversation of, hey, does Duke get that last spot? Do they get that automatic bid as a conference champion? And so that's not what we're here to establish here. Eli Drinkwitz, I think, said it best again here. We've gone from a model that crowns a national champion, a rightful national champion, to now we're just, hey, what's the best entertainment value on a Saturday? How can we provide the best level of entertainment here on a week-to-week basis? I think Eli Drinkwitz and Mike Elko have come out as winners so far here in SEC spring meetings. And then there are some other coaches. Clark Lee said, look, there's not an exact number that I want, but there's a way to do it. Hey, man, come out and take a stance. Give us a number. Take a stand, because you've crunched the numbers. You're smart. You're the head coach at Vanderbilt. You got to be smart. You're a head coach in college football. You know what you're talking about. There's a number you want. Is it the number that benefits your team? Maybe. Do you want 16? Because if so, Vanderbilt would have been in last year. Do you want 24? Because then, hey, it's really hard to justify firing a coach that made the college football playoff. No matter how much we water it down by 16, 24, anything beyond that at that point, because there has been talk of maybe we do end up at, 28 teams in the college football playoff at this point. But no matter what the number is, everybody's got a number that they want. Everybody's got a certain number of teams they want to be in the college football playoff. Some coaches are more willing to share that number. Eli Drinkwitz said 24 last summer, and we all thought he was a nutcase. Well, turns out that 24 might be the path that we're about to head down here. Mike Elko, hey, I want 40 teams here. I want 40 teams in this college football playoff, as a selfish joke, kind of. But he said, hey, give me 40, because I know for a fact 40, I'm in that thing every single year. I'm not going anywhere. I can be the head coach at Texas A&M as long as I possibly want if we got 40 teams in this big dance here. Steve Sarkisian said it best as well. Steve Sarkisian said it earlier today. Hey, we watched a coach who was in the semifinals, was a field goal away from competing for a national championship, from playing in the national championship game. 6 games into the next season, he's fired. Do you know what coach that was? He was a field goal away from playing for a national championship in 2024. By game 6, he was fired the next season. It's James Franklin and Penn State. James Franklin and Penn State. They were in the semifinals. One of the last 4 teams standing. Half of the field was from the Big Ten at that point, because you had Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, and Texas. So Penn State is a field goal away from making a national championship game and playing against Ohio State for the second time that season there. And a double overtime loss to Oregon, followed by 2 really ugly losses to UCLA and Northwestern. And James Franklin is out the door, gone, fired. Is that the best thing for this sport? I don't think it is. I mean, if we are basing everything solely on a year-to-year basis rather than looking at the full body of work of a coach, this thing gets really dicey. And now you're making a lot of really, really expensive decisions just basically with your gut. It's a gut check moment. Are you going to make this decision right now? Or are we going to give the guy that has been here for, in the case of Franklin, 10 years, who's been a pretty consistent coach, winning 10 games, maybe not winning the games he's not supposed to, but wasn't really losing the games he was supposed to prior to the 2 last year. But are we going to make those gut check decisions off the cuff like that? Because that's a lot of money that we're dealing with if we are going to make these decisions like this. We'll go ahead and take this first time out, keep talking about SEC spring meetings here and our reaction to what's coming out of SEC spring meetings, including Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer, who spoke to the media earlier today. We'll talk about it here on the other side. Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, and checking us out on the Deep South College Football YouTube page, the Tide 100.9 Facebook page.
Hear that? That's the sound of busy. To a restaurant, all that shouting and banging might as well be a symphony. It means the long days and longer nights are paying off. Sure, it's noisy, but there's a worse sound. This, not busy. Busy means business, which is why Toast gives restaurants the tools and tech they need to help them perform under pressure. Sounds pretty good, right? Toast, built for busy.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Tuesday edition of The Game, we'll recap a lot of SEC spring meeting talk as we'll set the stage for a busy week down in Sandestin. We'll have a chance to feature Mark Houston, and we'll take your phone calls starting 2 p.m. on the Tuesday edition of The Game up on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 1230 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on on the free Tide app.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
Hear that? That's the sound of busy. To a restaurant, all that shouting and banging might as well be a symphony. It means the long days and longer nights are paying off. Sure, it's noisy, but there's a worse sound. This, not busy. Busy means business, which is why Toast gives restaurants the tools and tech they need to help them perform under pressure. Sounds pretty good, right? Toast, built for busy.
Biologic and Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizzi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZZI.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A flood watch remains in place through 10 o'clock tonight. This afternoon, deep moisture surges in ahead of a front that's going to trigger widespread showers and storms. 82 are high this afternoon, 4 below the seasonal norm, 86. Rain chances stay high tonight, low 70. More storms Wednesday, 84, and a high 85 on Thursday. Richard Wedding of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media Tuscaloosa.
It's 80 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
24/7, 365. We've got all your coverage of the Crimson Tide on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
We're talking about SEC spring meetings here as they are underway down in beautiful Sandestin, Florida, although maybe not so beautiful right now with all the rain and weather that's come through the area here. But, hey, we got Miss Julene hanging out with us here on Facebook. Appreciate you for checking us out here on the stream here, Miss Julene. But it seems like, Jackson, the only thing that all these coaches are in agreement on is the fact that they want to keep the SEC championship game. They want that game to still mean something because it's what you've been hunting for, right? You don't play 9 regular season conference games and not get a chance to be crowned conference champion here. Kirby Smart's advocated for it. Steve Sarkisian advocated for it. Kalen DeBoer did. Clark Lee, Eli Drinkwitz. I mean, every coach that has spoken so far today, the one thing they've all said is we've got to keep the SEC championship game. That seems to be the only thing that the SEC is aligned on right now is the fact, because Greg Sankey said it last night as well during his opening statement down there in Florida, we've got to keep the conference championship game. But how do you do that in the current landscape? If you do expand the playoff, how do you incentivize or how do you maintain the sanctity of that conference championship game?
There's got to be a way where you can rope it in to maybe like the first round of the playoffs, if you're going to that 2014 model, but also like you have to keep that game. Like that's like outside of not making the playoff or not winning a national championship. That's what this conference, these teams in this conference want to play for, is because, well, now it's the Big Ten is the best conference. The deepest conference is still the SEC. And if you want to prove your power in this conference, you go play and try to win that game. And that's what, everybody these past 2 seasons has been trying to do. They've been trying to take out Georgia. And nobody's been able to do it yet, but that's what Texas wants to do. That's their whole goal outside of making the playoff and competing for a national championship is that they want to prove they belong in this conference, and that starts with winning the SEC championship.
It's what everybody wants. Everybody wants that conference championship. And so there's got to be a way to incorporate it. I don't know if you do incorporate it in the first round. Maybe you because the auto bids, when we expanded to 12 teams in the playoff, right? The conference championship winners got the automatic buys and got the auto bids and got the buys. So that was still a really good way of incentivizing, hey, you want to go win your conference championship. Georgia, you get a buy. If you get, if you win the SEC, hey, Arizona State, you're going to get a bye if you can go out and win the Big 12, or Texas Tech, you get a bye if you can go win the Big 12 there. Ohio State, or Oregon, you got a bye because you won the Big 10. But now that we've got a 2-year sample size of this playoff here, we've seen that bye may not necessarily be all that it's cracked up to be, right? Everybody talks about you want the rest because you've had the attrition. Right? You've played 12 regular season games, and if you're in the conference championship, you've played 13 games this season. You're tired. Your body is beat down, and so now you get some time off. You get to rest. Maybe somebody who, tweaked an ankle during rivalry week is back if you've got the bye, whereas if you played in the first round, maybe they weren't healthy yet. But after a 2-year sample size, we've seen the fact that teams are 1-7 if they've got a bye. The only one was Indiana, who went on to win the national championship as the best team in college football last season. But Arizona State got the bye and lost. Oregon got the bye and lost. Boise State got the bye and lost. Georgia got it twice and lost. Ohio State did. Texas Tech did last season. And I forget the last team that got it outside of Indiana. Georgia did it twice, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Indiana. Okay, so yeah, Georgia did it twice, Ohio State, Texas Tech, and Indiana. Indiana's the only team that's won their game coming off of a bye. So now it begs the question is it really that worthwhile? Or do you want just the momentum? Because regardless, as of right now, the way the calendar sits, as of right now, you still get a week off. You effectively get a mini bye just for making the college football playoff. And if you're a team like an Ole Miss or a Texas A&M or a Miami, hey, you've got 2 weeks off because you're not playing that first weekend of December because you didn't make the conference championship, and you get off that week of Army and Navy. So now you've got 2 weeks off if you don't make the conference championship. And then you play in the first round of the playoff. You get another 2 weeks off, and then you're playing in the quarterfinals. You get a week off. Now you're playing the semifinal, and then you get another week before the national championship. That's, to me, it seems like Mike Elko has talked about it here as well. It seems like Steve Sarkisian's mentioned it as well here at this point. Clark Lee's mentioned it too. The problem is the fact that this season extends so long. January is so long compared to how these teams are playing during the regular season. You're going 12 weeks with one bye during the regular season, and then suddenly you play one game every 2 weeks in the postseason. It throws off the rhythm. And so rest versus rust is a big conversation when it comes to the current model of the college football playoff. That's got to change regardless. The 2027 national championship to be played after this upcoming college football season, a championship game is not until January 25th. There are going to be teams that finished playing 2 months prior to when the national championship is played. There are going to be teams that are done November 25th. That's going to be their last game of the season. And we're not going to crown a national champion until 2 months later. What other sport is like that? I mean, realistically, what other collegiate sport is like that? Baseball and softball. Okay, fair. Not even then, right? Because the SEC softball tournament was 3 weeks ago, and the Women's College World Series starts this week. By the way, Alabama playing on Thursday in the Women's College World Series. They'll take on UCLA Thursday night. But even still, we're taking way too long to crown this national champion. We've got to figure out how to shorten this timeline because it's getting ridiculous at this point. Let's go ahead and jump out on the phone lines. 205-342-9904. Our buddy Pat here in Tuscaloosa called us in here. Pat, how you doing today?
Hey, am I the only sane person in Tuscaloosa or in the Southeast wanting an SEC championship game? It's a dinosaur. It's got to go. We cannot keep exploiting these children. And I say children because some of them aren't grown men yet, some of them are. But that we cannot keep exploiting these people and making them play more for less. Nobody, I just can't understand what the thinking is of the beating that you've taken the SEC. Number one, the rest of these conferences, it's not apples and it's apples and oranges. It's not apples and apples or oranges and oranges. The rest of the United States is not equivalent to the SEC. Come on, face it. The Big Ten's won a couple games. But the overall top to bottom, they're not the same as the SEC is top to bottom, including Vanderbilt now. Come on.
They're not the same, but it's also not exploitation, Pat. They're getting paid money to go play in this SEC championship game. This isn't exploitation.
No, not more money. They're not getting paid more money. They're getting paid the same thing. But that's another game where you're facing SEC competition that can make you like Chucky Mullins. You know who Chucky Mullins was? Chucky Mullins is dead now because of football. Come on.
Yes, but Pat, it's not exploitation.
Violent sport, and the SEC is super violent. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Football's a violent sport. The Big Ten championship was violent.
But why should you have another SEC caliber game that the rest of the country's not having to play it? Notre Dame can sit on their laurels and still get to go to a championship without doing a darn thing.
Notre Dame's a different story, and we got a lot of. I would rather Notre Dame fall by the wayside. I would rather Notre Dame fall by the wayside and fall in line and go play a conference championship game than everybody else get rid of theirs.
They not. Yeah, exactly right. If Notre Dame doesn't have to play one, why should we?
Because it's sacred to the sport.
The sport ain't got nothing to do with it. It's called writer power. The Notre Dame's had the power of the sports writers for years and years, and the Pope, blah blah blah. But what I'm saying is, it's not. But you're going to tell me that your Northwesterns of the world and your Rutgers and all those people are the same as playing in the SEC? Come on.
No, but Notre Dame and Rutgers aren't playing in the Big Ten championship. Ohio State is, Michigan is, Indiana is, and that's on par with playing Georgia, Alabama, Texas in the SEC championship.
If Notre Dame was in the ACC, they would have played in the conference championship game, won that game, and been in the playoffs. So the fact that they weren't actually hurt them.
My proponent is that Notre Dame should just join a conference. I'm a big believer that Notre Dame should just join a conference.
Yeah, key word. Until you make them, why make the rest of the country beat each other up before they get to play a championship? But that extra game is, Kirby said it. Hey, Kirby didn't want to play it. Not really. But,
really, because Kirby said earlier today that he wants to keep playing the SEC championship.
Well, but he's got to do that to save face. He don't really want to. He don't want any part of getting his boys beat up to the point that may cost him a national title. He ain't crazy.
No, he's not. But the SEC championship still means something, Pat. That's still a worthwhile game. They want to go win. That's their competitive mentality, is they want to go win a championship. You've got the ability to do that in the SEC.
Yeah.
And you can be damn sure that Texas, Alabama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, guess what? They all want to knock Georgia off that throne. They all want to walk into Georgia's backyard and beat them in Atlanta. They all want to.
What happened to Florida State when their quarterback got knocked out? They got knocked out of the championship because their quarterback got knocked out. What happens when your starting quarterback gets knocked out in the SEC championship game and it costs you a national title? Who the crap cares if you win an SEC and lose a national title? Who cares? It does not.
They care, because guess what? Kirby Smart gets an extra $250,000 if they win the SEC championship. Those players have monetary incentives to go win the SEC championship.
And it gets a million.
So if you don't go to the SEC championship, you don't get that money, and then you're probably going to lose anyways, because 1 out of 138 teams can actually win a national championship every single year.
Exactly.
1 out of 138. So why would I not want to go compete in the SEC championship, Pat? If I'm going to make extra money, I'm going to get a ring, and I'm going to have my name, cemented. Or if you're in Tuscaloosa, I'm going to have my name cemented on the Walk of Champions.
and the biggest thing is you got a real good possibility of getting somebody hurt before you get to the national title, and it could cost you a national title.
You could get somebody hurt in the last game of the regular season.
Somebody could get hurt in week one. DeAndre Francois tore his ACL in week one, and it derailed Florida State's season. You know what? Screw it. Why play a season? Let's just put everything on paper, and the best two teams on paper, you go play one game, and let's go crown that a national champion.
Whoever's ranked in the AP top 25 going into the season, that's where the playoffs start in August.
That's it.
All right. Y'all disagree, but hey, that's why we're trying to make good radio here, because I just feel that the shot in the SEC of getting people hurt in a game that really doesn't mean anything. When you don't make Notre Dame do what everybody else does, it's just totally irrelevant to me. And,
all right, Pat. I appreciate you, man. I got to hit this break.
You guys have a blessed day. Big recruiting weekend. We're going to talk recruiting tomorrow. Come on. All right.
We'll talk recruiting a little bit later this week. I'm going to see if I can get Brett on from Bama 247 to jump on with us. That's Pat in Tuscaloosa right there. We'll go ahead and take this break. Piano Man, hang on with us here. We'll come to you right here on the other side. You're on Tide One.
There are two types of business owners: those who are busy and those who want to be busy. Toast is designed for both, with tools to keep you humming and help turn grind into growth. That's how you turn busy into business. Toast, built for busy.
This Memorial Day, get low prices guaranteed at the Home Depot. While supplies last, price and valid May 14th through May 27th. U.S. only, exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
There are two types of business owners: those who are busy and those who want to be busy. Toast is designed for both, with tools to keep you humming and help turn grind into growth. That's how you turn busy into business. Toast, built for busy.
Barry Moore. I've rolled up my sleeves in Congress, and I'll keep fighting for Alabama in the U.S. Senate. I'm Barry Moore, a conservative fighter, and I approve this message.
Approved and paid for by Barry Moore for U.S. Senate.
Did you miss any episode on Tide 100.9? Don't worry. All of our shows can be found on Spotify and Apple Music and on demand on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. Let's go ahead and jump back onto the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Let's talk with Piano Man. How you doing, man? Piano Man, you there? Going once, going twice. We'll throw you back on hold here, and we'll see if we can get you back on the phone lines here. There's been other news and updates coming out from SEC spring meetings down in Sandestin, Florida here. John Summerall, he's taking shots here, Jackson. John Summerall said that, he said he's not taking a shot. Let's be very clear about this. But he basically was asked, hey, you coached at Tulane during the college football playoff while also becoming the new head coach at Florida. What was that like? And he used a word we can't use on radio here, but basically called it a crapshoot. He said, not taking a shot at anybody, but I would never do that again. That was an utter crapshoot. I wonder who else was in that situation last year. Was it maybe Bob Chesney that he's taking a shot at? Because he was the coach at JMU while taking over at UCLA.
Maybe Lane Kiffin.
Could be one Mr. Lane Kiffin, who wanted to coach, told Blake Toppermeyer, USA Today earlier this week, Ole Miss would have won a national championship if I were the head coach. He said, Blake Toppermeyer, USA Today,
why even
did an interview
the
with
LSU job? If you strongly believe that, Mr. Kiffin.
Oh man, he said Ole Miss would have won a national championship if I were still the head coach and Pete Golding were in the booth. Last I checked, Pete Golding is 1-0 against Kirby Smart. Lane Kiffin's what? 1-2?
1-2.
1-2. 1-2 against Kirby Smart. Couldn't beat him in Athens in the regular season, but yes, you absolutely would have led Ole Miss to a victory the second go around. I do have a feeling that Ole Miss may have been able to take care of Miami a little more because it seemed like the offense did start to grow a little stale against Miami. But if you did Georgia, you wouldn't have gotten to Miami anyways at that point. But even still, Lane Kiffin just, he talks tonight at 5 o'clock. According to the SEC Media Day schedule that was put out by Pat Ford, Lane Kiffin's talking tonight at 5 o'clock in Destin, Florida. So that's going to be a lot of fun to get to listen to Lane Kiffin there. For the most part, we're done with interviews for the day, though. We heard from Eli Drinkwitz, Clark Lee, Kalen DeBoer, Mike Elko, Steve Sarkisian, Alex Golish, John Summerall, Kirby Smart. They'll break because the head coaches will be in their meeting this afternoon. So maybe we'll get something out of that this afternoon. 5 o'clock, Lane Kiffin, LSU. 5:30, Greg Sankey is back up at the podium. So what in the world? I mean, why does Lane Kiffin get the solo stage? Because it's just headlines galore when Lane Kiffin takes the stand there. That's what it feels like these coaches are doing at this point. They're taking the stand and getting just grilled, quote unquote grilled. But
the only one that should get actually no quote grilled should be Kiffin.
Oh, 100%. Like this is going to be a lot of fun because isn't this the first press conference Lane Kiffin is actually doing not in front of LSU reporters? Yeah, this is the first time Lane Kiffin's going to talk on a larger stage than the Baton Rouge media room since taking the LSU job. Got a feeling a lot of people are going to be tuned into what Kiffin's got to say this evening.
Who do we think he's going to take a shot at? Is it going to be Ole Miss? You think he says a little backhanded?
I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of, tag teams with what Sark said earlier last week, where, underwater basket weaving is a class you get to take at Ole Miss if you're a football player. I mean, we all know for the most part football players are not taking the most difficult classes, right? No disrespect. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
You think his daughter was in line to have a PhD?
There's a lot of players that I see as journalism majors, and as somebody who's been through journalism programs before, those classes aren't very hard. Those classes are not very. Jackson, you've been in journalism classes.
No, they're not very hard.
They're not very difficult whatsoever. You also in business administration.
Yeah, those classes way harder.
Okay, those classes are way harder. Okay, I've seen a few players come out with business degrees and communication studies, but as somebody who was an undergrad and got my master's in sports journalism, those classes aren't very difficult. Clearly, if I'm able to do it, it's not too hard to get a degree in sports journalism here. But no, John Summerall again taking shots saying that he's not taking shots, but he would not tag team that head coaching thing again. He would not for 3 weeks. He said it was the stupidest decision he's ever made. Just a god-awful decision. Alex Golish was also asked about his playoff format, and he goes, "Why the hell are you asking me? Why are you asking me about what my preferred playoff format is? I haven't even thought about it, because guess what? My opinion doesn't mean jack squat."
Well, I mean, it doesn't. He's never made the playoff. We'll see if that... I feel like that might remain the case as long as he's at Auburn, but we'll see.
I don't know if we go to 24, 7-5 Duke could have made it. If Auburn can go 7-5, maybe they can get a shot. God, I can't imagine what those Auburn jerseys would look like with that CFP patch on them. Just not fun. Just gross.
Well, it would be fun to see them get schwacked in the first round.
It would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun, actually, now that you think about it. So, okay, Jackson, we've all watched the playoff games at this point. We've watched 2 years of the 12 team where you get the home games. I was in Norman, Oklahoma, so they do a bunch of highlight videos and hype videos and things like that, right? How many times do you think the kick six would be played on the Jumbotron if Auburn is hosting a playoff game? Over, under 4.5?
Over. Because they would play it at the start and end of every quarter.
Yes.
So that's at least 8.
There you go.
Before and after halftime, so 10.
Pre-game hype video, so there's 11. Oh yeah, we'd blow that over out of the water there.
It'd be kick 6 and prayer Jordan Hare. Just those.
Next question was going to be the prayer at Jordan Hare. How many times do you think they would play that one there? But no, I mean, Alex Golish, I will give him credit. He's at least winning the media circuit. Now, it's one thing to be off-season national champion and regular season national champion, and then another thing to be the postseason national champion. But this playoff format, again, going back to the playoff format here, because that was the big topic of conversation today when the coaches took the lectern there in Sandestin, Florida. This format, we've got to figure something out, right? Whether it's 16, whether it's 24, whether we stay at 12, it seems like Greg Sankey is fighting his own conference here when it comes to college football playoff expansion, because it seems like he wants to stay at 16, or he wants to either stay at 12 or expand to 16. But like we mentioned earlier, Brett McMurphy on 3 Sports did a report. And let me see if I can find this here real fast. This report from Brett McMurphy here, where he polled SEC athletic directors here. And they were basically just, hey, here we go. 8 SEC athletic directors voted for an 8-team college football, or not an 8-team, excuse me. 8 SEC athletic directors voted for a 24-team college football playoff. 8 of them. 1 team voted for a 20-team playoff. 4 teams voted for a 16-team playoff, and 1 athletic director voted for the 12-team playoff to remain as it is. This is athletic directors. This is not head coaches, so this is a little bit different here. But we think what? Probably Georgia's AD voted to keep it at 12, I would assume.
He'd probably be the only one.
Where's Greg Byrne fit in this at Alabama?
Probably 16.
16 feels like the safest bet to put Greg Byrne. And now that we know only 1 AD voted for 12, if, again, I've not talked with anybody on this. This is just purely what I think kind of the speculation would be. Without knowing these results, I would have assumed Greg Byrne would have been one to vote for 12. He and Georgia probably would have been the only 2 to vote to remain at 12. But now that we know that only 1 did it, I'd probably put that on Georgia, just because in the 12-team era, Georgia's made the playoff both years. Georgia would have made it in 23 had that been 12. We know 20 and 21, or 21 and 22, Georgia was in it. So we can assume Georgia would say, hey, let's stay at 12. 16, we assume Greg Byrne's probably in that camp. Maybe Chris Del Conde at Texas, because Texas has been, inside the top 16 the last couple of seasons. But 24, I mean, that's everybody. That's Missouri. That's Vanderbilt. That's Auburn. That's
Kentucky, Mississippi State.
Kentucky State. Where's Ole Miss's AD fit in all this?
16. Maybe 12.
16.
Tennessee, definitely at 16.
Oh, 100%. Tennessee definitely was, because Tennessee's been actually not horrible under Josh Heupel. And so they made the 12-team playoff last season, or 2 seasons ago. Last season didn't quite make the playoff, but still, golly, it is rumbling thunder out there. We'll go ahead and take this break here, and we'll wrap up the loose ends, getting you ready for the game with Ryan Fowler here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Commuters on McFarland Boulevard should expect delays on the Woolsey-Fennell Bridge in Tuscaloosa next week as AlDOT performs routine bridge inspections on Monday and Tuesday. State police say a Woodstock man was killed this weekend in a boating accident on Lake Demopolis, and a flood watch remains in effect for Tuscaloosa and nearby counties, with days of more rainfall expected on already saturated soil. For the details on these stories and more free coverage of local news, get connected at TuscaloosaThread.com.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming Coming up on the Tuesday edition of the game, we'll recap a lot of SEC spring meeting talk as we'll set the stage for a busy week down in Sandestin. We'll have a chance to feature Mark Houston, and we'll take your phone call starting 2 p.m. on the Tuesday edition of the game up on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m.
Hear that? That's the sound of busy. To a restaurant, all that shouting and banging might as well be a symphony. It means the long days and longer nights are paying off. Sure, it's noisy, but there's a worse sound. This, not busy. Busy means business, which is why Toast gives restaurants the tools and tech they need to help them perform under pressure. Sounds pretty good, right? Toast, built for busy.
It's free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. A flood watch remains in place through 10 o'clock tonight. This afternoon, deep moisture surges in ahead of a front that's going to trigger widespread showers and storms. 82 are high this afternoon, 4 below the seasonal norm, 86. Rain chances stay high tonight, low 70. More storms Wednesday, 84, and a high 85 on Thursday. Richard Weathing at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 76 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Your front row seat to all things Alabama. Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. The home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Welcome back to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide sports here. We'll go ahead and jump back out on the phone lines here and talk with our good buddy Ellis in Manchester, Tennessee. Ellis, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing just fine there, Wyatt. You doing all right?
I'm good, man. We got some nasty weather coming down in Tuscaloosa right now, but we're doing good. I hope everybody's staying safe.
Well, it's getting dark here, and I'm out walking, and I ain't even got an umbrella, so.
Uh-oh. You better get inside, or at least go get you an umbrella.
I wanted to stick with 12 teams, Wyatt. You know, because all you're doing, if you go to that many teams, you're just giving a whole lot of teams that ain't even worthy to even be in the talking of being in the national championship game. And then
you're 100% right, man.
Well, then another thing, they put us in another SEC game on top of that, and they want to go to. I think stay at 12 games. And if you don't make tough crap if you don't make it. Boo-hoo. Try next time.
I mean, did you watch the 12-team playoff last year and say, yes, every team in this field can go win a national championship, even if they're hot? Can this team go win a national championship?
I just don't understand it. What do you think? You think staying with the 12 or?
I think you need to stay at 12. I understand the money aspect. I understand, you get more games, but I think as of right now, you need to stay at 12. If you do expand, you've got to shorten the timeline. You can't have 2 weeks off before the first round and then 2 weeks off before the quarterfinals and then a week and a half to the semifinals and then a week to the national championship. That's way too much time off at that point. I mean, the NFL doesn't do it like that. We keep talking about pro sports and wanting to kind of model this thing after pro sports. Why are we not following that model? If you get a bye, you've got 1 week off. That's it.
Yeah, 1 week off, not 2 weeks.
Not 2 weeks just for making the playoffs, and then 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks if you get a bye. There's no reason for that to be the case.
No, I agree with you on that. But 12 teams, and like I said, if you don't make it, cry me a handful.
That's the same thing. I mean, look, 2 years ago, did we think Alabama deserved a spot in the national or in the college football playoff when they got left out for SMU?
I think we
wanted Bama to be in. Don't get me. We wanted them in, but if you look at it objectively, did you think Alabama deserved a spot?
I think Alabama deserved the spot. To me, I don't think SMU did.
Okay, that's fair. Alabama played a tougher schedule, so I get that. But I mean, even still,
that's what I'm saying.
Right?
But
did Tulane and James Madison deserve their spot last year?
Do what now? I didn't hear you.
Did Tulane and JMU deserve a spot in the playoff last year? Did you look at any game that they could have played in the playoff and say, hey, they can go win that game?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The teams that they don't even deserve to be in there. They ain't gonna have a chance. Not a chance. Teams like that.
They don't have a chance.
No, and why put them in there when you could put somebody in there that has a chance that will bring money in? Them teams ain't gonna bring no money in. They ain't gonna. People ain't gonna watch it. I wouldn't watch it.
I didn't live. I went back and watched the replay, but I didn't watch Oregon and James Madison live.
I
went back and watched the replay because we talked about it here, and we wanted to talk about the college football playoff. But I mean, that was not a game where at any point I was like, JMU's got a chance. Tulane's got a chance against Ole Miss. No, we saw that game earlier in the year. Tulane got boat raced by Ole Miss.
Yeah. And
they got boat raced the second go around too.
So they don't deserve it. I'm sorry.
Ellis, I appreciate you, man. I got to get out of here and make way for Ryan.
All right. Good show today. Roll Tide.
Right back at you, Ellis. I appreciate you. That'll do it for us today.
There are two types of business owners: those who are busy and those who want to be busy. Toast is designed for both, with tools to keep you humming and help turn grind into growth. That's how you turn busy into business. Toast, built for busy.